So, the third installment of Day Drinking Chronicles. So this time we're bringing it up, actually surprisingly, just a little more than 2 years ago. When Barb wanted to go to Florida to visit with Jen and the family, and I volunteered to come and babysit, I guess, during that week or so. And so, aside from daily trips to the grocery store, inspecting every item, I thought we might want to do a little trip. So I got it in my head that we would take the train to Santa Barbara. Now at that stage, the train had been washed out somewhere in the middle, so what probably would have been a sensible idea turned out to be a little bit of a marathon of train, bus, train, etc. But anyway, Kathy seemed up for it. I knew apparently she liked Santa Barbara. I'd never been, so I thought, well, this will take up a few days, and it'll be a change of scenery. So we managed to get there okay. It was a bit long-winded. And the weather wasn't particularly good, so there was a fair bit of trudging around town when, you know, Kathy didn't really like to walk too far in those days, but, you know, she was reasonably cheerful most of the time, until every now and then, like a kind of a mule or whatever, she'd kind of say, no, I had enough. Anyway, the last full day we were there, the weather turned nice, which was great. So we're walking around town a little bit, and we spy this, I think it was a brew pub or some kind of a bar, basically. Again, middle of the afternoon. So Kathy said, I want to go have a drink. So it was kind of an old vintage-looking thing, and they were playing, I guess what I call progressive rock. It was back from the 60s and 70s in the UK, so Pink Floyd, King Crimson, I don't know if you recognize it, Uriah Heep, that sort of thing. So anyway, Kathy, this was kind of Kathy's music back in the day. And when she left Montreal, she gifted me with all these albums. So I knew a fair bit of the stuff too, and it kind of got me turned on to British music. Anyway, so I digress. So we go in, sit down, sun's out, have a nice little chat, and then these two, a couple who were, I think, in their mid-30s or something, were next to us, and we got talking to them, and they were sort of alternative. They were nice, but they basically taken time out from their lives. They were in a camper van. They were going around the U.S. And they were kind of dressed, you know, like hippies, basically. So I think from Kathy's perspective, all of a sudden, maybe we were transported back to 1970. I don't know, but she wouldn't shut up. She started talking, and and normally, you know, I hate to say it, but you know, I'd often have to intervene a little bit when she got talking to people, just to make sure they kind of knew the situation. But there was no need for that. And this suddenly she was kind of back in the room. So anyway, I had to get up and go to the washroom. So I get in there, leave Kathy to her devices with these two. So I get in, and of course, strangely, the door locks, and I can't. We didn't compare notes on this before. So, and then there's this bloody prog rock music blaring away, and so now banging on the door. Of course, nobody can hear me. So I'm in there for, I don't know, it seemed like forever, 15, 20 minutes or something, before somebody came along. So I think, God knows what's going on. So I've been in here. So I got, and here they are, all taking selfies, and they got another drink. Apparently, Kathy said she bought the drink for me. I don't know if that was the case or not. They kind of stripped off half of their hippie gear, and were lying there, and they were sitting there in the sun and enjoying themselves. So anyway, I was sort of astonished. So we chatted a bit more, and then they packed up and went. And then Kathy and I decided we'd had enough and had a good afternoon. So we started walking home, and I noticed this bit of paisley fabric hanging out of Kathy's scarf. out of her coat. So she picked up one of the girls' hippie garb things, and somehow while they were at the bar, I guess she took it. But that wasn't yours. And so we sort of laughed. That's all we could do. They had long gone. So, but it did make me chuckle at the time, and but in that that hour or two, I kind of had the old Kathy back, and then sadly it was it didn't last too long. But yeah. So I mean, I think for me. She was an adventurer. She inspired me to probably pick up sticks and go to the UK. There's no doubt about that. She was a caring person. She really cared about me and my hairline. And finally, she was social. She was a social person. She enjoyed yarns, and God, could she tell a yarn, and they take a long time. But that was the Kathy that I knew and saw in those little stories. So anyway, miss her.